There are a lot of Texas high school football coaching changes around the state. One of the big ones happening in Buckaroo country. We go to Breckenridge, Texas to talk to the new head coach of the Breckenridge Buckaroos, Coach Casey Pearce. Coach, how you doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Appreciate you taking a little bit of time. First and foremost, congratulations on the new gig. I know that this is a special place for you, so I imagine that when word came down that you were the guy, it was a pretty exciting moment.
It was exciting, and just the pieces kind of all fit together. And we fell into a place that really means something. And I think we can make some great things happen.
For those who don't know, you are an alumnus of Breckenridge. This is home for you. So I guess my question now is you're a guy who's known around town. You've been away for a few years. Now you're back. What's the reaction from the community been like?
Well, there's been a lot of excitement. A little bit of it squelched by the COVID outbreak, but I think we need to ride that excitement into the fall and try to just create that unique feel that this place is known for. And biggest deal that I'm finding out is that a lot of these kids don't know much about the tradition. A few have grandparents that were part of it or parents that were part of it, but a lot of them are new to the community and don't really embrace or enjoy what can happen here.
You mentioned that there's great tradition there and kids don't know it. So I'm interested, you got hired in early March, basically right before kind of the whole world shut down there for a second.
Correct.
I'm interested in what you've been telling your kids, like, when you first addressed them as their new head coach, what was the message to them?
I got to see the kids the day that I accepted the position, right before lunch. And so my message to them was just, I hope that the coaching change bothers you because that group of coaches meant something to you. And I want you to understand that change is just that. And that I want you to keep a relationship with those former coaches that have gone to other positions, and that we need to embrace what we can control and just go and attack what we've got in front of us. And at that point, I thought it was going to be spring sports and the district track meet and the district baseball race that, we didn't get to do. And so that was frustrating to just have a bunch of words that I'd address those kids with and not to have any action to put behind them. So,
we talk with coaches at the 6A and 5A level who have spring football, and you're coming from a place that had spring football. But obviously you guys weren't going to be able to do spring football, but I think you hit on an interesting point. That's not to say that you guys were going to be sitting around and that you're not losing out on anything. How do you adjust as far as what you are losing in the spring?
Yeah, just not getting to see the kids move around, whether it be on the track or in baseball, and then during the off-season time that we would have. It really is difficult to look at that depth chart and kind of know where these puzzle pieces are going to fit. Once we get to do something this summer, it's going to be huge just to get out and move around and not necessarily do any kind of skill work, but just move, see kids in action doing some things athletically, just so that we have an idea of what kind of body types we have and people that we have to put into place for the fall.
We're talking with Casey Pearce, the new head coach of the Breckenridge Buckaroos here on Texas Football Today. Get involved with the conversation at hashtag TF Today. Coach, you're coming from a position there at Longview, and where you're the defensive coordinator under Coach John King, but you've also had stops at Permian, at Stanford, at Pilot Point. Everywhere you've gone, winning has seemed to follow. I'm not a scientist. I'm not trying to draw that straight line, but in your mind, what has been the key to success at all of those spots?
Well, as an assistant going to those places, it was very important who I was working with and working for. I think the success came from a group of coaches and then a group of kids that bought into the system. Going to Longview, it was get on the bike and keep pedaling because that system had been established and I was becoming part of it. And we were able to do things to really enhance what we had going with Coach King. Just thinking back to my first job at Stanford, it was a unique place, lots of tradition. Gordon Wood, Bill Anderson, Alan Wardis, those guys that won in the 50s, and then Jerry Taylor in the early 80s, winning and taking those teams to the state finals and semifinals. It was very similar to what we have here in Breckenridge. These kids have won, but they haven't played extended time into the playoffs, and we've got to instill that's the expectation and how to get there. And I think we can do that with this system. Speaking of coaches.
Speaking of system, this is a team that went 1-9 last year, and this is also a community that's hungry for a winner. Just ask our Facebook comments; they are hungry for a winner. They are not short on passion for football in Breckenridge, America. So, right. What can fans expect to see? What type of team? What can we see from a team coached by Casey Pearce?
Well, offensively, I think we're going to tend our lean toward what we were doing in Longview, which was kind of a pro spread style of offense, but be under center and run some dive option and run the power, and then get into the gun and control the run game, hopefully knock people off the football and press the football vertically and then throw it efficiently. That's my goal, or that's how I see us trying to trend. And then defensively, over the course of the last few years, I've kind of converted to a 3-4 hybrid type system. And I think it allows you to get skill type players on the field and cover 53 yards of grass with enough bodies to defend some of these high octane offenses. You're going to deal with that with people like Eastland and Brennan Morton. And then you're going to have a plan to deal with the Wall Hawks in the flex belt. And so I think the system defensively can adapt to those types of and styles of offenses that we will see over the course of 10 weeks. And hopefully we can just be efficient. I would like to slow the pace of the game down and, call plays from the sideline, shuttle plays like we did in Longview and control the clock. I mean, if I learned anything from John King, it was controlling the clock and allowing the defense to rest and being able to get first downs running the football.
This is you're dropping back down into from the 6A level, I guess now would be the 5A level for Longview into 3A. You've coached at big schools and you've coached at small schools, and I know that this is a question we get a lot from people, which is what would you say is the big difference? There's quality football all over the state, from 6-man all the way up to 6A, but what do you think is the biggest difference between maybe the 6A level and dropping down to the 3A level?
I think the biggest thing that I'm going to have to adjust to is the practice formatting. I think you're going to have to utilize athletic period time and just efficiently use your time so that you can duplicate the things that we were able to do at the 6A level, where you have 2 hours of defensive practice. You're not going to get that at this classification because you've got crossover players. And you're just limited. But the way that we utilize our time will allow us to get the same amount of work over the course of 4 days, I believe. And that's going to be a learning curve for me, just putting those pieces together just to be the most efficient practice planning person that we can have and execute. So if we can get that done, I think we can make some headway.
Finally, Coach Casey Pearce, Breckenridge, joining us. I would be remiss if I did not ask you about the most important part of your biography, which is the javelin. You were at the USA Olympic Trials qualifiers in 2000 and 2004 among the top 20 American javelin throwers there at the earlier part of this century. When's the last time you picked up a javelin?
It was funny. The sporting goods salesman that was in this morning saw those javelins in my office, and he said, "How long has it been since you picked up javelin?" I said, "It's 2008. I competed down at Waco at the Michael Johnson Classic." And what was crazy is I hit a qualifying throw, but the U.S. championships were the week of my son's birth, so I didn't attend.
Oh, man.
So the year he was born was the last year that I competed.
So right now, if you were to pick it up, is it because I've never thrown a javelin. Is it a muscle memory thing? Could you just pick it up and go again?
I think you could. Yes, I think I could. Probably as my career went along, I kind of found that, whenever I would put it down and walk away from it, I sometimes came back and competed and threw better than I had pressing and practicing daily and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think I could go out and probably throw 70 meters today.
Coach, if you see this mischievous look on my face, it's because I'm getting some ideas here. He's Casey Pearce. He's the new head coach of the Breckenridge Buckaroos. Coach, I really appreciate your time. Congratulations again on the new gig. Please stay safe and best of luck down the road.
I appreciate it, Greg. Thank you. Enjoyed it.